What's up guys, it's Danta. Now, today's video is about the new player experience in World of Warcraft. In my opinion, there are a lot of issues when it comes to the new player experience. And no, I'm not just talking about seeing a million debuffs when you try out PvP for the first time. I feel like if most of these problems get looked at by Blizzard and hopefully changed, that, well, the game will keep more new players interested in it, and that in general the game will be a lot more fun for new people, but also for people that have been playing the game for a long time now. So what I'm going to do is talk about the issues that I'm seeing and try to give a solution to it. Now I'll try to keep this video as short as possible, but oh man, I feel like this will be a long one, so let's just get into it. So what's the first thing that you see whenever you log in for the first time? Well, you are going to see the server or realm list, and you gotta choose a server to play on. Sometimes the game just automatically throws you in the new player server, but let's just say you gotta choose your own server because almost everyone has to. Well, here's the first problem I see when it comes to these servers. Let's say you don't have any friends that already play the game to tell you on which server to play. In that case, you gotta choose a server on your own. Now, that can be that hard, right? It's just choosing a server to play on, should be easy enough. Well, I got some bad news for you. I counted the total amount of English servers on EU, since that's where I play. And you have to choose from a total of 110 servers. And those are just the EU English servers. Now, if I could give you the answer to why we have so many servers, I would, but I have no idea why. I just hope that Blizzard fixes the total amount of servers that we have, because it's so ridiculous. Now, one of the solutions would be mega servers, which I'll get to later. So, which server will a new player choose? Well, most people will probably either choose a server because it has a cool name, because the game tells them it's a full populated server, because who wants to play on a dead realm, right? Or because it's tagged as a new player server. Is this the wrong way of choosing a server? Hell no. In my opinion, this is how it should be. But with, for example, Chromie Time, Connected Realms, Sharding, 90% Horde or Alliance servers that the game doesn't tell you about. I don't know if I'm the only one, but it makes me feel like a new player has to do so much research to find a server that is right for them before they can actually play the goddamn game. Now, I know a lot of people won't do that. I for sure didn't do that. What I think a new player will do is just join a random server to eventually either quit because they feel like no one is playing the game, or make a character on another server and hope it's a good server. Now let me tell you how I chose my server back in the day. So whenever I started playing around 15 years ago, oh boy, it's been a damn long time. I made an undead mage, and the game immediately threw me on Laughing Skull, which was a realm that did not have that many people on it. I also felt like mage wasn't really for me, so I made a blood elf hunter. Now back then I was like, okay, you know, cool, blood elves apparently have a city named Silvermoon City, so I chose Silvermoon EU as my main server. Now if you have been playing on Silvermoon back then, you know that it was an 80 to 90% Alliance server. But back then we didn't have Chromie Time, or Connected Realms, and I don't even remember Sharding being there either. Or at least not as much as it is right now. This made it feel like there were still so many people walking around in the world and doing their thing. The world just felt alive, even though I was on a server with only 10 to 20% Horde. And I gotta tell you, on that server I've had the most fun time ever in World of Warcraft. Now would I have had as much fun if they had Chromie Time and people would have been phased out around me, making it so that I would only see 5 people all the way up to max level? No, absolutely not. I would have probably quit, because the main thing that kept me around was seeing people walking around in cool gear, interacting with people, and even getting laughed at when I thought that I could solo a 5-man quest just because I finished Halo 3 on Legendary back then. Yeah, I was stupid. Now as a new player, you have to go through BFA first, right? Which is not great in my opinion, but we will get there soon. This means though that you are unable to level up with Chromie Time until you reach level 60. I think there was a way to bypass this by just making a trial character. I'm not sure if it still works. But when you decide to try out a new class, which most people will, you do have to deal with Chromie Time unless you want to go through BFA again. Now don't get me wrong, I like Chromie Time a lot because it allows you to quest all the way up to level 60 right now in older zones. But The fact that it phases you out from so many people is just bad for new players that, in my opinion, will stay interested in the game a lot longer if they see that the world is alive with players. Now, chromie time is even worse if you are on a server that does not have many people. I play on Draenor Horde, Silvermoon Alliance and Ravencrest Alliance, which are all full populated Horde and Alliance servers. Even there I get to see maybe 10 people all the way up to level 60 with chromie time. Now, I'm not including cities and, the new expansion Dragonflight, because of course you are going to find a lot of people there. Now, to me it already feels bad, but imagine how a new player would feel seeing only 10 people in the entire 1 to 60 journey. So, my solution to this whole server/realm problem. Well, make mega servers. I know it sounds simple enough, and some of you are probably like, yeah, they will never be able to pull that off. I know that we can't have 40 v40s right now, without the server lagging too much. Or, as a more recent example, we couldn't even go to those Firewreck assaults that they introduced in a recent patch without too much lag. But they are improving the game a lot with Dragonflight. I feel like there are a lot of people working on World of Warcraft right now that actually know what they are doing. And I think that if they start with improving their server quality, look at the total population on each server divided over, I don't know, 5 mega servers for example on EU, make it so that chromie time doesn't phase you out. If they do all that, which I bet they can, I feel like a lot more people would stick around and have a lot more fun. Not just new players, but also players that have been playing for a long time now. By doing this, they can also get rid of connected realms. And yes, of course we are still going to need sharding, especially when a new expansion launches, because otherwise it will be just a complete mess. Now, I'm not expecting them to do this within a month, but I bet they can do it within 1 or 2 expansions if they want to. Especially since Microsoft is buying Activision right now. Now, I'm no engineer, but this is basically how I think the issue could be resolved whenever it comes to these servers. Now, if some of you have another idea on how to handle this issue, just put it in the comment section below. Completing quests is probably the thing that a new player will be spending most of its time on. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the video, new players will start in BFA. And in my opinion, that has been a huge mistake. Now, I'm wondering what a new player would say the game is about, story-wise. Because they have to start in the 7th expansion, which means there's like 14 years of story just not being told. I think a new player would say, well, the planet got stabbed by a big hairy man, and now, we are killing each other. Ezra is leaking out of the goddamn planet, and we got a cool guy walking around in this expansion called One Samdi.
One Samdi! We had a deal! Grant me your power!
I feel like that's all they are going to say. There's basically nothing more they can actually say about the expansion. So why would you let people start in the 7th expansion, Blizzard? It makes no sense to me. But the biggest question mark that I have has to do with new players being called champion the goddamn moment they log in. It's stupid.
Azeroth cries out in pain. Our world needs us, champion.
Imagine if I would sign up for the military and they immediately call me general. Like, what the fuck is this? I really don't get it. I don't expect the same perfect storytelling like God of War Ragnarok did, but man. World of Warcraft has a lot of cool stories, and this is what we are going to let the new players experience. I feel like way more people would stick around if the story they have to go through for the first time is actually interesting and cool. Now, I saw a tweet from Mr. GM that they plan on having new players start in Dragonflight. Even though I think Dragonflight has done questing probably the best out of all expansions, I still think it's a bad thing. So, how would I fix this? Well, I've been thinking about it for a very long time, and it's actually pretty simple. So, I will give Blizzard an idea on how it could work. For free, so it won't even cost them money. Imagine logging in as a new player, having to choose between 5 big ass servers, creating your character, choosing the new player experience option, being put in the game in your starting area with chromie time immediately enabled. You get to learn the basics of the game while chromie takes you through some important vanilla quests. Eventually you have to go through the Dark Portal, deal with Illidan and save the World Tree. Then we get news that the Lich King, also known as Arthas Menethil, has emerged from Icecrown Citadel to claim the world as his own. So we get teleported by Chromie back to our main city and make way to Northrend. We have to go through some important quests again and eventually have to deal with Arthas himself. Now you are probably wondering now, how the hell are you going to do ICC by yourself on that level? Well, what if Blizzard made it so that we get an easier version than normal with NPCs to help us? Maybe a little bit like scenarios that we already have in the game. That way a new player will experience some of the old raids too, because they could do that for every major story raid. It doesn't only have to be for ICC. Now some of y'all will probably get mad, but I think it would be really cool if they would make Invincible and other mounts a low drop chance too in that scenario, just to make dealing with the Lich King and other raid bosses even more exciting for a new player. So after dealing with Arthas, Chromie can teleport us back to the main city, and while we are celebrating, we see a big ass motherfucking dragon flying over Stormwind, or in the distance if we are in Orgrimmar. Everything would start to shake and get destroyed, and yes, I know this is not how Cataclysm started, but man, it would have been so cool if this was the start of the Cataclysm expansion. Oh man, please Blizzard, make it happen. At this point, Chromie could make us go through a series of quests that lets us deal with the dragon aspects, the elemental lords, and eventually Deathwing the aspect of Death himself. By the way, Blizzard, don't make the Spine of Deathwing a scenario for new players, because that will be the point where they will actually start uninstalling their game. Please don't do that. Now with Deathwing gone, we could get teleported back to the main city because our leaders want to talk about a hidden land, which is Pandaria, by the way. We go there, have a little war with the other faction, see what the Shah is about, deal with one of the coolest villains in the game, the Thunder King, kill some insects that immediately made me think back of this line.
I will do what Pavla could not.
I tried. And handle the corruption of Garrosh. Now Chromie could take us through Orders of Draenor. I know that there was not a lot of content in that expansion, but questing in Draenor was great. Chromie could make us go after Garrosh, which has been sent back in time. We could stop Gul'dan from letting the Iron Horde invade Azeroth, and we could kill Archimonde in HFC. After dealing with Archimonde, we have to go to one of the best expansions that Blizzard has ever made, Legion. The new player experience could take us through the Broken Isle scenario, meet up with Illidan again, go to Suramar and the Tomb of Zagaris, and to finish it off, they could make us deal with Argus and let people see probably one of the coolest in-game cinematics. So now we would actually arrive at BFA story. I'd say they could make us go through the Battle for Lordaeron scenario, just because it's a big story part of the expansion. Have players do some quests for Bwonsamdi, because it's probably the best character they introduced back then. Maybe have us go to Nashatar, make us deal with Ajara, and besides that, I feel like we should not even have new players deal with N'Zoth. It's just, it's such a disappointment. And talking about having new players not dealing with certain things, let's just completely skip Shadowlands, shall we? It's not needed anyway. Now, after all of this, you should hit level 60. And Chromie should teleport you back to your main city, and that's when Dragonflight starts. Now, Blizzard could figure out how many levels you should get per expansion and how to deal with side quests, since it's still an open world. Perhaps they could do it like Final Fantasy XIV does it, and allow you to continue with the new expansion after completing the main story quest up to then, or something like that. I have no idea. I don't work for Blizzard. They don't pay me money to even give them this idea, so you can do it, Blizzard. I know you can. I feel like this should be possible and something that they could do if they want it. Sure, it takes some time, but I think it will make it so that new players are going to stay a lot longer interested in the game, and actually will end up knowing what the game is mostly about. Leveling up and getting stronger is a big part of the game, but as someone that has leveled around 60 characters to level 60 plus now, I have to tell you that the getting stronger part is almost nowhere to be found after level 30-ish. At least not until you reach Dragonflight. Now, in case you are wondering, why the hell would someone level up that many characters? I just do it because I like to have all the transmog and mounts in the game. So the more characters you have, the higher your chances are of getting all the transmog and mounts in the game. It's just that simple. Now, when a new player starts playing the game, they will one or two shot mobs, which feels good. But here's the problem. After they reach a certain level, probably around 25 to 30 depending on the class, You have to do so much more to kill that same mob you were killing in 1 to 2 hits before. Now I know that it has mostly to do with scaling, but if scaling makes you feel weaker, then there is a problem. Imagine you have been playing the game for a week now. You've reached level 45 and you decided to do a dungeon. You join the dungeon and there's a level 15 healer and a level 12 arcane mage. Who's going to do more damage? Well, certainly not you, even though you are level 45. If I play World of Warcraft for the first time and I would see a level 12 arcane mage or even a level 15 healer out DPS me by a mile, I would feel so bad. I would feel like, why the hell did I even level up to level 45? As for how Blizzard could improve this, well, this might actually be one of the hardest things to fix with scaling. If I'm going to be completely honest here, I don't think that I have a direct solution to this. Probably, well, maybe make it so that the first 10 to 15 levels are a little bit harder. So instead of killing things in 1 to 2 hits, it's going to take around 4 to 5 hits, for example. That way you don't start off overpowered, even though we are champions, you know. Also make gear matter a lot more instead of levels, because I feel like gear doesn't really matter while leveling up right now, at least not up to 60. So let's say, for example, you are someone that likes spamming dungeons and you got a lot of good gear with nice stats. Then in my opinion, and I feel like others feel the same about this, you should do a lot more damage than you were doing when you were walking around with greens. And you should definitely do way more damage than a low level character. Now scaling does make it so that we can quest wherever we want, which is nice. And I know that scaling is never going to go away. But man, I feel like scaling took away all sense of character progression with it. They did give us a great talent system, which gave us some sense of character progression back, but I don't know if that's enough. Personally, I like leveling up to level 25 to 30. After that, I just get bored and log off. Unless I'm playing a tank, because, you know, tanks can still pull everything and not die. Now, some new players will probably be able to sit through it all, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of the reasons that new players just eventually stop playing World of Warcraft, even before they hit level 60. So yeah, as you can see, I don't really have a direct solution to all of this. I could also say, like, make an option where you can choose between leveling in a skilled world or a non-skilled world. Maybe something like that, since we have Chromie time now, but then we have another problem, because that would just cause more issues when it comes to dungeon and raid scaling. It's a tough problem to fix with scaling. However, I do think Blizzard needs to take a good look at it, especially at how the character progression feels right now in World of Warcraft, because it just doesn't feel great. Now, if you have an idea on how this could be handled, please let me know in the comment section below, because I'm really curious about this one. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, there are way too many things going on which will keep new players away from the game. We have a million things going on in PvP, and just to show you an example, Asman pulled this picture up whenever he was watching a video of Rookie, and even though I know a lot of things about the game, I just can't tell you what the hell is going on exactly.
Like, I showed it. Do I still have it up? Look at this. What the fuck is this?
The same goes for raid and dungeon mechanics. Now I have to be fair and tell you that most of the raid bosses in this expansion are very easily understandable by new players, but I feel like the trash mobs in dungeons and raids just have way too many mechanics, which makes fighting the trash harder than certain bosses, which is just bad game design. So this brings me to the add-ons part. World of Warcraft has a lot of add-ons that make dealing with all of this a lot easier. But if you start playing the game for the first time, you don't want to spend hours setting up your add-ons correctly. Not to mention that new players first have to figure out where to download these add-ons. Yes, you can Google it and you will probably find out that you can download all of these add-ons on CurseForge. But if you think about what new players have to deal with just to play the game, it's bad. It really is. Like, they have to choose between 110 servers, look up if the server that they chose is or isn't a full populated Horde or Alliance server. Then they have to download their add-ons, they have to Google where they can download them, and if they want to do PvP, they have to download different add-ons than when they are going to focus on PvE. They have to make sure that their add-ons are set up correctly, and whenever they have fixed their add-ons, they also gotta look up which build they want to play, so they have to go to either WoW Hat or Icy Veins. Now, once all of that is done, they are finally ready to play the game, but I think they will just quit around level 30. So all that work was just for nothing. So as for how to fix this, well, first up, reduce the amount of mechanics happening in the game. We don't need every mob to have special mechanics. It's okay to just have some mobs do literally nothing besides hitting you. So yes, I want, for example, a pack with 5 mobs, where one of them is the chieftain or something like that, and the only thing that he does is rally, while the rest just hits you. Now if rally goes off, everything around him deals more damage, so you gotta interrupt it. Just as simple as that. The game does not have to be complicated to make people have fun. This actually makes me think back of Dragon Soul. Like, I like the Spine of Deathwing fight a lot, aesthetically, because it looked really cool. But the fight itself, oh boy. There would be so many wipes that eventually it didn't become fun anymore. Like, people were just quitting, people were leaving the guild because of it. It was annoying. And even today, I think most people that never played Cataclysm will go flying if they go there for transmog or if they want to farm the mount. So yeah, like I said, like, you don't need to make things complicated, because complicated doesn't mean that it will be fun. As for PvP, I'm not someone that does a lot of PvP, but whenever I see this picture, it's bad. It really is. There are just way too many spells or abilities in the game, which make it so complicated for most people. So to fix the crazy amount of things happening in PvE and PvP, I'd say reduce the amount of abilities in the game and make it so that we can go from this to that. Also, it's fine if you keep it simple. As long as the classes are fun to play and the rewards are nice, people won't care if not every mob has some kind of special ability, for example. As for how to fix the add-on issue, well, I think Blizzard did a great job with the UI update. I know that it should have been here like years ago, but it is here right now and it's great for new players. Now, if you want more options for your UI, you can also still download Bartender, I think. But there are still more add-ons that I feel like are necessary to most people. For example, DBM, details, platter nameplates, hell, even World Quest list. Like, these are add-ons that are for most people a must-have. So what if the Battle.net launcher had a different tab called add-ons? You click on it and all these add-ons will be there. That way you don't have to Google where to download them and wonder if it's even safe. Now, I think that some private servers even already do that with their launcher. I know that Ascension does it, but I feel like a lot more private servers do that as well, where you can just, download add-ons straight up from the launcher itself, so you don't have to go around the internet to download them. Now, in an ideal world, World of Warcraft wouldn't need any add-ons, and Blizzard would have just gave us an in-game DPS meter, the ability to change nameplates like Plater, or have a list of world quests that are up without using the world quest list add-on. But we don't live in that world. Now, the reason I made this video was because I like the game. I love it. Like, I've been playing it for a long time, and I feel like if these problems get looked at and hopefully fixed, that we will all have a game that is a lot better than it is right now, and also a lot more fun. And yeah, Dragonflight has been a much better expansion than Shadowlands, but it feels like the game can become even so much better. Now, if you made it to the end, I want to thank you for listening. It's the first time that I'm doing a video like this, so if you like it and you want to see more like this, just let me know in the comment section below. And who knows, maybe I will make another video, but then instead of just the new player experience, I'll be going over all the problems that World of Warcraft has. It will be a damn long video though. Anyway, as always, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.